Hello, my dear. Now, you might know me as a spiritual entrepreneur who makes millions on repeat by making a difference in many people's lives, and a woman who lives life fully as a mother, wife, and just woman. But to be honest, of course, it's not that long ago, or it doesn't feel that long ago, when it wasn't that way at all. In fact, there was a period of my life where all this started when I was broke and struggling for solid 2 years. So today, what I want to share with you is a little bit of journey of how I transitioned from broke to millionaire as spiritual entrepreneurs, and share with you the main, if you like, secret or the things and lessons I learned along the way that made this possible, with the hope that it will powerfully serve you too. Now, Archie, my little anxious dog, wants to be part of this too, so why not? Let's get this started, shall we? Now, this journey for me started, well, obviously when I was born, but really what I feel is a very pivotal point of my life that made this amazingly, immensely successful business that fills my heart possible was that period of the greatest struggle. And I'm going back less than 10 years, somewhere around 2014, 2015, where I essentially was recovering from the complete loss of my first business when I was in a bankruptcy, if you like. Now, for the purpose of this video, it's not important why or how I lost that first business, but what I can tell you, in that period of 2 years, I did absolutely everything that was possible to rebuild my business or start it from the scratch again, and it wasn't happening because I was in that need. I need to make this work and struggle. So the first big pivotal moment, which I write about in a book, Energetic Selling and Marketing, for me was when I got rid of the need to fit in and bring all of me into my business. What I mean by that, back then, I was still searching for the way how to make my now new business work. How do I need to brand myself so it's successful, so people will get me? And I had some ideas, but at every point I would be thinking, yeah, but I need to be careful because I want to be taken seriously. I'm a professional. I wanted to fit the boxes, and that clouded my thinking. So I was in this reactive consciousness where I wanted to fit my genius into other people's expectations. And at one point, I let go of it. At one point, I asked myself, what would I choose to do if I didn't give a shit what other people thought about me? And in that moment, I knew instantly, marry, spirituality, and business. It was clear AF. And even though I was really scared, I immediately honored it, even though, well, what that meant is that I came out of my spiritual closet and started to openly talk about spirituality in business, and created very quickly the first offering that merged the world of spirituality and business strategy. And that was my first sold out experience. It was absolutely magnificent. Now, I consider this still to be one of the greatest secrets and lessons I learned, because I've been using it on my journey again and again. What I'm talking about here is reactive versus creative consciousness, where we stop fitting other people's expectation and bring all of us, all of our genius, our personality into business. So today, what it looks like is that I love to give value, I love to share the wisdom, but also I love fun. So I create incredible fun experiences like Infinite Figure Frequency Retreat for my client, where we bond, where we dance, where we play, and through that energy we transform and grow. I bring all of me into my business, and when I don't, I'm careful about that, or I'm become aware about it, because every time, I promise you, on this journey, every time I was hiding something because I was scared that people will not take me seriously or this or that, or when I was making myself smaller to fit in, I found myself in a little period of stagnation. So that's one of the biggest secrets that helped me from the start, or from broke to millions, and it continues to support me. And I believe it must support you too. Then, second one, and I've got some notes here because I don't want to forget, was that I suddenly I started to take far bigger risks. Because of course, when you're in that period of 2 years, when I was really struggling, and at some point, I'm kidding you not, I could not afford family dinner. So I considered myself broke, and I was constantly talking about, if I had this money, I would do that. If I had 1 more, 2 more, 3 more, 5 more clients, I could do that. Now, so I was in this very limited state of consciousness, and I was constantly waiting for that more clients, more this, more that. But really, what I didn't realize, and based on one experience that I'm not going to share here, it's in my book, I realized that this is just one of the sneaky unconscious ways how I made and continued to make myself smaller than I am in every way. So I realized that all of these, if you like, excuses that felt very, very real, and I would cry some nights about it. That's how sad it felt, that I cannot do this or that. That was just me believing in the circumstances, believing in my fears, believing in my doubts more than I believed in that vision in my heart and mind. And I had a vision. I had a vision of me making a huge impact on a large scale. I had a vision running this beautiful event. I had a vision, but I was so far removed from it, and I believed what was happening around me. So in one moment, I decided that I'm going to stop believing what I see with my physical eyes and hear with my physical ears, and stop believing what my mind is telling me and the fears I feel in my body. And I'm going to believe and learn to believe my vision so much more. And from there, naturally, because I started to take that vision as real, and it is real, it is pre-existent in a 4D consciousness, it's pre-existent in vibrational reality. It is absolutely real, it just reflects our soul essence, soul truth. So when I leaned into the real truth and learned to trust it, I started to take far bigger risks than before. So I started to play bigger game. So what it looked like at the beginning was to let go of all the very little income and security I had. So I closed down my networking events. This is what I was doing before I transitioned online. And I just proclaimed I'm now a global coach. I didn't know nothing about the marketing. I didn't have any base. I had no knowledge, nothing. But that was my way, how I'm believing my vision. And I proclaimed myself, I'm a global coach serving on a large level. I opened a Facebook group and I started to give value with the closed doors. There was no little income from this networking event or that networking event that would forever keep me small. Now that is one example of a massive leap of faith that I took, and those were just getting bigger and bigger. I did this so many times, and I continue making these big leaps of faith because I so strongly believe into that vision and how it's evolving, what I'm here for, what are we here for. So it was the same when I was running my first in-person luxury event in the way I desired. It was just massive leap of faith, putting down 50K, which felt a huge amount at the time, but I'm going to do it. It felt like that when I was hiring my coaches. It felt like that when I was hiring team members, etc., first team members. So leaps of faith, because I don't believe anymore on what my mind is telling me, what my fears are telling me, what circumstances are telling me. I believe far more in my vision, and it's a trainable, I believe it's a trainable skill. And again, it massively helped me on this journey, and I know it must support you too. So that's the second secret. The third one is that I started to invest in support, and over time I doubled down on support, doubled down and upgrading and went and support. So again, what it looked like at the beginning. So when I closed down all those networking events and proclaimed that I'm global coach, it's in the same time when I hired my first high-level coach. So I put the big money to be in energy of someone who is where I wanted to be and being guided by her. And of course, it was very, very scary, and especially I paid with the money that I didn't have. I paid with a credit card. But of course, in the next 4 weeks, I got that and more money back. Now, it didn't happen with every coach, every investment, but what I do know is that from that moment, I started to really, really invest in support. Coaches, cleaner. I remember back then, again, I leaned in. It wasn't like I hired a cleaner on a full-time basis or anything like that, but I got a cleaner for a few hours a week, and that was a stretch. It's that type of stretch in energy of support, being supported as a queen, so I could focus on my genius, so I could focus on creativity, so I could focus on giving, so I could focus on selling. So I would lean in that energy of support more and more and more. One of those big ones was also that by mutual agreement with my husband, back then he became a full-time dad, if you like. I was about to give birth to my third son, so we decided that it's best for him to retire at that time, and he would become the main provider in that way, and that again supported me and our family so much that I could focus on me. Over time, as my business was growing, as I was growing, and I was going to making 7-figure impact and more, of course that support is through the roof, but it was through this process, leaning in and affording support in the highest way possible, not thinking I can't afford that coach or I can't afford that team member, is I cannot afford not to have them. If that's a love match, and I mean, let's say a team member that I know the team member will take off my plate that which is not my zone of genius, and they'll do it so much better. We're matching personality. It's a love match. Or that coach, it's a love match. That person will support me there where I want to be, in whatever capacity, or that cleaner, or that cook, or that whatever it might be, to the point I was uncomfortable. And this uncomfortableness, I believe it's a key word, because oftentimes in spiritual community, we hear that, wait until you're aligned to take that step. But actually that uncomfortableness is showing us that it's misaligned with current self, as in my current self is maybe not used to this level of support or paying for that level of support, exchanges this energy, but my future self is a big time. It's normal. It's just absolutely normal. So I leaned in that energy of support more and more and more and more. So that's one of the greatest secrets, again, that massively helped me to go from broke to millions and more. So that's number 3. Then I fostered the energy of certainty and continued to hone on this energy of certainty in every way. And here I'll share a vulnerable story. In that period of time when I completely struggled, I struggled not just financially and in my business, having to work 10, 15, sometimes more hours a day, really, really prostituting for the clients and money with very little results. But it started to really rub off on my personal life. Whereas I've been with my husband for many years before. We already had 2 children. It was, since the beginning of our relationship, he's been nothing but completely supportive. During that period of time, he became less than supportive. He was telling me things like, well, don't you think if it was supposed to work, it would work by now? You are selfish, you should, etc., etc. It hurt. So much so that at one point we had the divorce papers on the table. And this was one of the biggest gifts in this transition and journey to greatest impact I wanted to make, because it opened my eyes that how my dear one, which they often do, how my dear one really reflected the state of consciousness within me. In other words, he was reflecting the doubts and fears I had. I had the fears and doubts that if it was supposed to work, it would work by now. I had these fears and doubts that I'm a bad mother, I'm not good example to my children. I had those doubts that I'm too selfish, that I put so much energy here, etc., etc. So I started to really, based on that realization that he's simply reflecting what's happening in me, I started to really zone into this energy of certainty. I started to tap into what I nowadays often called God consciousness, because there's a God and Goddess within each of us. We're made of God, we're made of universe creator, call it what you like, we're made of the same material. And when you think of God or Goddess, you cannot even imagine that God chooses something and God doesn't get, right? What God wants, God gets. It's absolute, it's certain. And so why shouldn't it be different for you? Because you're the same. You are it as well. You are the universe. You are the creator. So I started to hone on this, and so from this level of certainty, I started to think completely differently about, let's say, my containers, as I call them, or products, services I created, say, one-on-one packages or group programs or this or that. It was completely different energy, because it was like, what do I do so clients will afford it, etc., etc. No, it was like, what am I here to create, and what results, what transformations I want to create via these services. And I would set that stage. I would just decide that my clients are going to have the most immense transformations in their lives in these containers. It was that I started to project more and more of this certainty into my containers, into my services. And that certainty, it just naturally and unconsciously will reflect in the way you market, in the way you sell, in the way you deliver, in the way you serve. Also, at the beginning, I didn't have much results, as in, I called myself at the beginning not spiritual entrepreneur or energetics genius, because I didn't write my book before then. I didn't have the defined methodology, if you like. I called myself fully booked coach. I help you to go from overlooked to fully booked. Now, I didn't have 6-figure income or 7-figure income or anything like that, anything close to it, but I still was able to project energy of certainty, because I wasn't focusing on what is or what was. I was focusing on what's coming. I was so certain and projected that excitement and certainty about how it's the most incredible to be on this journey to go to creating full-time income from something I love. How blessed I'm able to do this, and I invite you on this journey. So I wasn't honing on the idea, because sometimes it happened and temporarily I would get lost into it, that okay, I had some better month and sometimes I had like 0 month. So if we focus on that, then we cannot project the energy of certainty. Is not, if our value and who we are is moving according to how much we sell or what results we get or what testimonials we get, then we're blinking doomed. But I really started to hone on this energy of certainty and where we're going with the clients, where we're going in our containers, where I'm going with my business. And that, I cannot tell you how much it served me. I'm still working with this energy of certainty, just on a larger scale. It's still the same thing, just on a larger scale. So again, my question to you would be, where are you with your energy of certainty? When you decide to do something, how certain you are that it's gonna come so? And if you're not 100% certain, that's fine. Find those reasons, treat them as limiting beliefs, and reframe, refocus, and hone in on that energy of what God wants, God gets. And if I have this desire, that's an absolute bloody evidence that all elements are ready. This is what I've been working with throughout this incredible journey. Next, I based my business right from the beginning on giving an immense value. At the beginning, where I started, immediately I would open that Facebook group. I would start just, how can I support my clients? And it's oftentimes, how can I support myself as well? So I would do things like gratitude challenge. I would do almost every month or every 6 weeks, I would bring something new. Challenges, webinars, masterclasses, cheat sheets. Lots of it I would have by this point, maybe 2 VAs at that point, but all of it I would even create myself. So there was always a lot of giving. In that time also, I've been told from left, right and center, you shouldn't do this way, by marketers, and those that know. You shouldn't just give everything that you have, because then why should people work with you? Just give them the what. Never worked with me. So I decided I'm going to make millions as a giver, and I'm going to make a real transformation in the world as a giver. And I did, and I'm doing so. And I created a separate video about it, which you will find on this YouTube channel, how to turn generosity into wealth, or how to manifest millions as a giver, because it's a very important topic. So, but that, being of service, being just having it as the biggest driver, being of service, activating potential in my clients, showing them how, growing their awareness, just giving value has been absolute cornerstone of my journey from 0 to millions. I'm especially saying it because I know a lot of you are givers and are perhaps thinking that I cannot succeed as a giver, and that's BS. You absolutely can. That, by the way, because it's been one of the greatest value for me from the start, that also meant for me to consciously work with my ego, that would almost like keep closing doors to this giving value and tapping into that infinite source of value and wisdom. And the ego would be telling me, everyone knows this, or it's too easy, or it's not original enough. So this has been great, the giving value and making it like one of the drivers in my business and growth has been supporting me in becoming more aware of my human mind, how it works, and I would be meeting my ego along the way a lot. So I chose to do like various challenges so I could release this voice and give that value and give myself fully, such as at the beginning of that entrepreneurial journey, I would do 30-day blogging challenge because I wasn't used to giving value and communicating with my audience in writing. I would be very uncomfortable about that. So I would give myself challenge that for 30 days, I would write a blog, doesn't matter how short, doesn't matter how long, something of value, and I would publish it online or send it as a newsletter. And that gave me daily opportunity to essentially meet my ego mind and see what are the workings of my mind. Why is it discouraging me? Why is it so hard? And it became it was hard at the beginning, but it became natural and I found my writing voice. I did it with video. I did it with many other things where I would just work with my ego mind and would be dropping from head to heart. But the cornerstone on the basis of it is the willingness, the love for the clients to serve and give fully. So that has been one of the biggest ones. Next, big secret. You see, with these changes in my mindset and energy, I took my business very quickly. I remember that when I closed everything offline and I went online, it was scary. I literally felt, and I had this metaphor in my mind, as I'm crossing the brittle bridge over the Grand Canyon, and that bridge can just break at any point and I'll fall down and I'll fall down deeply on my face. It was scary AF, but I was telling myself that I know what I'm here for. I know what that vision is, and that's who I am. That's what I'm here for. So under that belief, that bridge got stronger and stronger. So within the next 3 months, even though the first month was very little or whatever it was, but in the month 3 from closing my offline business and pronouncing, taking that space as a global coach, I made my first 20K month. Like, wow. At the time, it was mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing for me. And from there, I grew my business really quickly, 6 figures in the first year, multiple 6 figures in a couple of years. And then I was on these multiple 6 figures for a bit, even though my business continued growing. But I felt the growth became more logical, almost stagnant. And that was because I was a little too bogged down in serving my clients. Let's be frank, I still had a little bit of prostitute energy, that I was overgiving, etc. And I was hitting financial ceiling, and it seemed like I couldn't break through it. And my coach at the time told me, Lenka, if you want to break through the ceiling and if you want to have more time, because that was one of my complaints, I'm a very busy, fully booked coach, you've got to take your time and claim your space, which meant for me, I consciously took, and this was very much outside of my comfort zone, extra half day during the week just for me, just for being, nothing else, just being. Just be in my energy or just do something that I want, nothing to do with the business. And that was very much outside of my comfort zone, but it was my, if you like, the first steps to claiming my time and my space, which since then became absolutely crucial in order to continue growing my impact to millions and beyond. Because from the spells of busyness and being constantly in outpouring energy towards clients and creating, etc., it's impossible. It's impossible. We've got to receive, integrate and receive as well. So it's in that time, in that extra time, that the rest of my week started to adjust somewhat, and miraculously that I became more productive, but also that extra time I claimed I would be thinking and feeling into what are the next steps, how else I want to grow and serve, how am I going to expand my capacity to serve and to receive. So I came up with a new mastermind offerings. And instead of just offering one-on-one, I took the time to realign myself with that, because it was, I was about to charge the same thing for intimate group program than for one-on-one. So I had that space to work on that, why is my mind telling me this bullshit that clients are paying me for my time, which is not true unless we make it true. So I could make that alignment, that set me up to actually sell out my first mastermind. So I immediately leveraged my time, leveraged money. So more time, more space, different strategy, but they can happen only when we truly make ourselves and spending time in our energy or things that we just truly love priority. So again, this completely evolved and became stronger, this energy of claiming time, claiming space and putting ourselves first. This evolved over time more and more. I would start taking time to travel, to get inspired, new experiences. I would scrap the business meetings first thing in the morning and created my own creative time instead. So this evolved, but it's the willingness to really take time and take space. And I remember that I used this mantra to start with because it was uncomfortable, that it is safe for me to take time and to claim space. So that's another secret. And perhaps the final one, and perhaps the most important one, is that at one point I stopped separating myself from others and from my vision. And it kind of wraps up everything that I shared so far. So I already shared a little story with my husband, how I stopped taking it, oh, my husband is not supporting me, he's being this nasty to me, and took it, my husband, we're not separate. He's a reflection of my consciousness, we're one. I created my husband. I created that client that adores me, but also that client that ghosted me after we stopped coaching together. So I took every little opportunity, especially when it to grow from within. So I could tell you a story about how one of my incredible clients had the biggest outburst of anger in front of me in a group setting, and how my biggest fears about not being liked came out, and how that moment became the most transformative moment, not just for me in my coaching career, but for that woman and everyone's in the room, and how that made us all much bigger and stronger together. I could share with you how at one point many people were criticizing me for my accent, and how I took that as a reflection of my insecurity, worked on it and released even more power, more I guess you can call authenticity in the world. I could share with you how somebody accused me of taking something away from them and building my success on that unfairly, and how they publicized it to hundreds of their followers. and how took that experience and looked within and found out that actually I've been unconsciously a little possessive over my clients' results and my methodology, and how that released so much from me and helped me to tap into that infinite well of wisdom even more and increase my impact. I could share with you probably hundreds of stories like that, but the point is, it all comes from the idea or the consciousness that there's absolutely nothing that is separate from me. When my clients are amazing, they get great results, when I attract avalanche of them, and sales are amazing and everything is amazing, so great, absolutely great, that's my truth. But sometimes I have instances when it's not so. I may have a client here and there that is showing patterns, and I'm, oh, what's this? But again, it's never about rejecting, like, bye Felicia, or just ignoring it. It's even briefly, okay, that too is me. That too is me. What is there for me to integrate, and how can I alchemize this with love? And it's from there that, even though it's probably the biggest intangible secret, it's from there where our energetic roots get stronger. Our foundations are built for skyscraper that can actually hold the skyscraper, and it's from there where we can really grow our branches and expand our impact, expand our receiving capacity, expand our love, expand our service, expand the fullness of life. So that has been very much the guiding principle on this journey for me, that I'll continue to use, and I'll encourage you to do the same. So that's my, if you like, 7 secrets and my journey from broke to million in a nutshell. I will love to hear from you what you took out of this, which of these secrets stood out for you, where is your opportunity to hone in and to use it. And I want to say one more thing, I love you. I really, really do. I'm sitting here recording this video. For me, it feels great, but really for you, it's through you. It's through you that I'm able to talk about from broke to millions. It's through you that we are making this great impact. So I cannot tell you just how much I desire that great success, limitless impact, limitless receiving for you. So I'm really grateful that you are in this incredible community. So much love your way, and I'll see you next time.